Welcome to New Jersey and the World Sporting Clays Championship. It's going to be an amazing week.
Take me down to shining waters, to towns of grit and pride.
And an amazing week it was.
Big 6-foot alpha male type. I figured you'd break them all.
I figured I'd break them all. Some intimidating stuff.
Why?
Because you're stood next to me.
This year's World Championship was hosted at M&M Hunting Preserve in New Jersey, home of the Matarese family. This is the most important event in the Sporting Clays calendar. Attended by the best of the best to see who will be crowned world champion. There's enough here to keep a shooter entertained for a full week. Between multiple events, side games, great hospitality, and thousands of attendees. Upon landing, I met up with Anthony, who offered me the chance to shoot the full main event with him the next morning. So I headed to Beretta, grabbed the prettiest gun I could find, and went out for a practice with the legendary Diane Sorrentino. Full of nerves, I retreated to the hotel to get some sleep, ready for the next morning. Regardless of nerves, I was looking forward to another great week in America. Shooting clays, having fun, and making memories.
Anthony, I am very excited to shoot the men with you.
Yeah,
It's going to be kind of cool.
it's going to be fun. Not something I do very often, but it's the World Championship, and one, I want to see how I would do, and second, I want to just test out all the targets, and if we have to make any changes for tomorrow, that we can do it.
Wow. We've got the course to ourselves.
Absolutely.
Well, other than Joe.
We walked up into stand one on a raised platform with two report pairs. Anthony was up first.
All right.
Shoot ounce and an eighth in America.
I just switched back this year. Shot 1 ounce for about 5 years. I shot ounce and eighth with a semi-auto for 20 years.
Yeah.
And then I shot ounce and eighth for a while at my DT11. Then when I, about 5 years ago, switched to 1 ounce just with recoil. And then this year, I feel like this gun kicks a little less, so I said, I'll try it. And the scores have been so high. So the winning scores have been so crazy high that I'm like,
An extra pellet.
I can't, you know, I lost the US Open in the shoot off a couple of years ago, you know.
So every
You know,
little
after
helps,
winning
right?
the year before, you know, it'd been nice to win 2 years in a row. I feel like I could, maybe would have cracked one more in half. You know, who knows?
Stand 2 was a fast orange edge-on bird quartering away, followed by an orange looper. Nothing that looked bad, but I managed to walk out with a big fat 0 out of 4. Luckily, I had a world champion next to me to show me how it was done.
Well, it didn't take long for me to return to form, mate. A blank stand. That was nothing like I expected.
Yeah, I mean, I think the targets are themselves are straightforward, okay? But I think what's going on here is you have this super solid green background, okay? And you got an orange bottom bird in there. Even with no sun today, you see it really clear. It looks really big, okay? So since it looks so
close,
big,
yeah.
you're missing the speed and the distance, right? You know, so the first one is probably 40 yards at your break point, and it's got a little quarter out to it. So the quartering out means you have a little less time to get in front of it. So you got to get that gun out in front and establish a big gap pretty early. The bat 2 is just a 40-yard bat 2 under mid-speed, but again, it looks like a flying saucer out there against that solid green background. So that's really kind of what I'm doing when I set that stand. You know, I feel like you're going to have top shooters go in there and run it with ease, and you're going to have a guy that comes through this course and he's down a bird or two and comes in there and touches the first pair and just shoots behind them.
Yeah,
you know, they look
easy.
big and
They look
fat,
super
you know,
soft.
and I think the background being so good hides the speed.
Well, I was hoping for like a soft start, mate. Thank you.
Stand 3 offered up a nice close rabbit and a slow crosser. Stand 4 gave a pair of pacey crosses. And stand 5 an incomer and a trap bird. Nothing about these stands would have seemed hard out on an open field. But shooting in this New Jersey woodland made this a real test of your ability to lock onto the bird, whatever the background. Stand 6 had a pair of loopers that I completely underestimated.
Stand 6, coming off of stand 2, looking at this, it felt similar, so I ended up poking that gun way in front of him.
Yeah, so let's just back up. We've shot 1 through 6. There's going to be a handful of people that lose the world championship on stand 1 through 6 on DT11 course, no question in my mind. And they're not big, fast, far birds. Kind of comes back to the background a little bit. The background is good, you know. You get a sunny day, you'll get a little bit of strobes and stuff. But this is one of my favorite stands on stand 6 at DT11. You're in a tight area, but you have enough room to work with the birds. And we've got soft springs. They look like a Shondell and a looper. But if you get out there, you know, they're about 40 yards from the cage. But if you get out there where the traps are, the birds only fly about 25 yards, but they cover the whole openings.
Stand 7 gave us a break from the woodland, looking out into a nice clearing with a pair of birds shooting away towards the tree line. At this point, I was honestly a little rattled by my performance in the woodland, and I struggled to make good moves. Stand 8 was a simple pair over a lake that Anthony turned to dust, while Stand 9 tried to put some fear into you with a MIDI looper that looked a million miles away. If you watched it properly though, you could see that it was actually coming into you and landing just inside 40 yards. Stand 10 was a great pair that gave you all the time in the world. Pairs like this often bait you into shooting them where is conventionally best, and not where is best for you. We had a quick play with a true pair when we were done with the station, and this urgency actually made this pair way easier. Station 11 looked up out of a hole in the trees, giving a great frame for the clays to fly into. A lethargic looper from left to right was followed by a trap bird that rolled away to the left. This whole course had been made up of these sorts of pairs with very different pacings. If there was a hole in your technical ability, for sure you would have found it round this course. 12 and 13 were out in the open. 12 had 3 report pairs like this. And stand 13, where we were finishing, was probably my favorite pair on the course. As you climbed the platform, you were presented with bales dotted in a line. A rabbit target ran behind these, giving different windows in which you could shoot. This was followed by a sweet incoming MIDI.
DT11 completed. That was varied. Probably the most varied course I've ever shot.
I like it. You know, it's one of those courses that it's got a little bit of everything. You've got to shoot a big bird, you got to shoot a close bird, you got to shoot a slow bird, you've got to, you know, rabbit from the right, rabbit from the left, a slow rabbit, a fast rabbit.
And this stand with the rabbit with the bales, there's just little things there to trip you up.
Yeah, I mean, my goal is always to set the course as a test and to try to be fair to everyone, right? You know, so even asking you, because I don't think it at all looks over the top.
No, there's nothing there that I wouldn't walk in and feel confident that it should break.
Right. So, I mean,
everything's a play with background.
Yeah, I really try to keep in mind everyone. We are trying to decide the world champion, but there's only 20 guys in the running for that and 15 or 1,600 people here to enjoy themselves. So I try my best to make it where I can do both. And I feel like as a target setter, I generally feel like I do a pretty damn good job of that.
Happy days.
Good deal.
All right,
let's go try the other ones. Let's go do the SL2.
SL2. Let's rock and roll.
So if you haven't figured out by now, M&M is a beautiful place. 1,400 acres of lush woodland and grassland, all intersected by proper tracks. It's the perfect mixture of nature and civilization that a facility like this should have. The World Sporting Week sees this place come alive, with hundreds of traps laid out over various courses. You obviously have the main event, but there's enough side events to keep you busy all week long. The 5 stand was set in the northeast corner and was described by a few shooters as the hardest 5 stand they've ever seen. I watched some of the greats shooting this, and of course, they made it look easy. Then there was the southwest course that was home to the Castellani Cup prelim. This was equally as tough, but what more can you expect from an event attended by the best in the world? This course would be flipped into a supersporting later in the week.
The Matarese family has been doing that for years and years and years, and you know, the parents are still working, and I mean, they're non-stop. Donna and Big Ant, they're running everywhere. You can see them, you know, in the golf cart or talking to people. I love coming here. Anthony's my coach as well, so I get a chance to come here on a pretty regular basis. So yeah, looking forward to the main event. I think it's gonna be on a course that virgin ground, nobody's ever shot in it.
At the center of the property is the clubhouse, where free coffee and donuts were provided every morning. Next to that was registration, where Score Chaser were housed, as well as a store for event merch, and of course, the food vendors. I could make an entire series on the food alone. Surrounding the clubhouse are the side games, with a trap house, a pool shoot, and a very serious make-or-break, where a very large prize was up for grabs on Saturday night. Of course, there was ample parking, which was skillfully managed to avoid any congestion, as well as plenty of camping spots for those in need. No big event would be complete without Fit Ask, which of course was on offer here too, giving people a chance to try this great discipline. I always regret not signing into more disciplines when I attend these events, and after seeing the quality of the targets here, I was gutted to not try myself against them. For those more inclined to shoot small guns, a set of sub-gauge FITAS courses was available too. Of course, being a premier sporting clays event held in America, you want for nothing out on the course.
If you've never come to the USA before, this is what you can expect at a major shooting tournament. Snacks and water around every course. On every course there's about 3 or 4 stations where you can grab some fruit, some sugar, some nuts, or some water to help you stay hydrated and focused around the course. I love it. People talk about it being a bit more expensive over here, and for sure it is a bit more expensive over here to come and shoot these professional tournaments. But the level of hospitality and the level of experience you get is way more than what we get back home. I always forget water, I always forget snacks, and I find when I come here, I drink water and eat the snacks around the course, and it helps me stay focused and enjoy the sport more.
On top of that, there's a huge array of vendors selling every gun you could think of, as well as custom stocks, custom chokes, custom vests, and much, much more. The big talk of the event was the Tower Challenge, a 50-bird challenge of very tough targets shot in 2 blocks of 25. Some big names were sat in the 30s, but with a serious display of skill, it was won by James Atwood with a very impressive 45. Finally, there was the Guarini 12-gauge event course, also home to the pump gun, side-by-side, and sub-gauge sporting events. Each stand with a combination of traps fired in a specific order for each discipline. All of this was tied together by Anthony and his extremely professional team that truly made this thing run like clockwork.
Guys, a quick moment to shout out one of the sponsors of this video, which is Edwards Eyewear. I've been wearing their glasses for 2 years now and full prescription for over a year. I've got 3 different sets of these. They're a pure titanium, super lightweight set of shooting glasses. Before using these, I was into just some throwaway pairs, and I tried a lot of different styles, but honestly, I liked something a little bit more classic, and when they came out with these, I bought my first pair straight away. I couldn't resist. Subsequent, I now own 3 pairs of prescription shooting glasses, and they do both stock standard and prescriptions, which is great if you have eyesight like mine, which is increasingly less good. Being lightweight, you barely notice them on your face, and when you're wearing glasses all day in weather like this, it's really handy. Some of the different colors are really handy. Certainly the fuchsia in all of this green has helped pick out those orange targets that Anthony has beaten me up with all week. What's also interesting is they're completely adjustable, so you can pinch the nose in a little bit if you would like them to sit a little higher on your face, which is really handy if you're getting into the gun a little bit more, but if you want them to sit a little lower, you just part that nose bridge, drop them down on your face. They also have malleable arms. I've bent mine down a little bit, just apply a little bit of heat, and they actually bend down, so you can just get them to hook around your ears a little tighter or a little looser, depending on the size of your head, the depth of your face, and the depth of your ears. And it's kind of important, as we all know, to have things custom fitted to you so you're as comfortable as possible out there on the course. They have just released 2 new super high contrast colors. I was actually with Ed the other day and I tried both of them. I'll probably be ordering one of them, I think. But time will tell. I'm sort of only just getting used to picking the right lens for the right job. And I've needed pretty much every color here this week in the changeable weather we've had in New Jersey. For those who aren't aware, Edwards Eyewear is owned by Ed Lyons and Ed Solomons, a world-class shooter and a world-class eye doctor. They know what they're doing, they have created a great product, and they're 2 good friends of mine, so I appreciate supporting them, and I appreciate you supporting them, and I appreciate them supporting us and making this kind of great content for you. With some geographical restrictions, they ship all over the world, and one of their biggest markets is here in the USA, and they're currently looking for stockists in various countries, including the USA. Guys, thank you very much. Let's get back to the world sporting.
Anthony and I had headed straight from the DT11 course to the SL2 course for another 13-stand sporting clay sprint.
Main event part 2, SL2.
I'm gonna give it a go.
Speaking of SL2, you've been shooting this for 4 months now?
Yeah, I shot my first shot with it on February 5th.
How are you getting on with it?
I like it. I love it. I won the first regional of the year with it, and I tied for 3rd in the 2nd. So
It's definitely an upgrade on your previous, do you feel?
I think so. I mean, the DT11's awesome. Great gun. I love this gun, though.
It's a step up, right?
I think so. I like the thinner profile. That's the biggest thing for me.
Just
get like on that second to last stand where you get the trap bird out behind the hill.
just allows you to.
I can see it coming better. Not from a weight standpoint. I can see around the gun better.
And you went
My
for exactly
vision's better.
the same stock spec design measurements?
Yes, we did tweak it just a hair. I'm shooting maybe a slightly lower point of impact, just a hair lighter. I wanted to get a little lighter, a little lower rather, but everything else about the same.
Interesting. See, I shoot yours better than I shoot Brian's, so I might steal that for this course. You set the SL2.
Yep.
It's different.
Yeah, I said the DT11 and the SL2. Joe's on the 694. The SL2 relative to the DT11, you only have one real wooded stand. You got a couple clear cuts, some big field. It's definitely different. There's not as much distance as like those last 3-4 stand, or the back side there on DT11 when we're over there around stands 7 through 10. I don't have anything quite that big here. Okay, maybe 1 or 2 birds. Got some couple good true pairs over here.
And all that's going through your head is the same. Test the shooter, let people have fun.
Yeah, so for the 2 courses I sat, at the end of the 2 courses, I try to throw a little bit of everything, right? You know, so we had a close incomer over there.
Yeah,
we've got a couple bigger incomers here. We'll see. 2 pairs, both standard.
This is cool.
Station 1 was a rangy pair of teal, one from the left and one from the right. Stand 2 was a trap bird from the left with an incoming dish plate of a target. Everything about the first bird said if you were gonna miss, you'd miss in front. So I did just that.
Well, that stand 2 was, well, I should have straightened that really, but it's interesting shooting a flat shooting gun. Really how much my shooting style's changed over the last couple of years of shooting with a bit of rib. A lot of the hacks that I used to do are kind of undone, so I missed that first one shooting it as I usually would and just shooting underneath with a slightly different thing. Third shot, bound back, punch up through it, proper nice big swing through, and that worked a lot better.
Regardless which way you shoot it, if you shoot the front one, you got a dead gun on a really fast bird for the second. If you shoot the back one, you're going the other direction.
Walking into Station 3, we were shown a sim pair with no obvious order. If you took the simple trap bird first, the crosser was far and edgy. If you took the crosser first, the trap bird was in Delaware. Either way, you had to crush the first bird off the trap arm.
That's the right way to shoot it.
Next was a great pair of left to right crosses, the first being fast and flat, and the second ditching 20 yards in front of you. All done with those, we headed to stand 5.
That's a nice little break.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little different.
It's not a sporting stand.
No,
We're
three singles, 2 shots each. Shoot the trep 1, then trep 2, then trep 1 again.
Really baits you into using 2 shots when you've got 2 shots.
Yeah, that first bird, true straight up teal at 50 yards, 55 yards.
It's nothing to be scared of.
You know, it's just got distance.
And number 2, trap
just
target.
a fast trap bird,
Yep.
you know.
Nothing
really,
to be scared of.
Really, you know, your second barrel is kind of a Hail Mary on that one, but you got it, right?
Station 6 was 2 pairs of crosses, 1 midi and 1 international clay.
110 International. That's a British target.
Yep.
I should feel confident on this, hopefully.
Feeling overconfident that I shoot clays like this all the time, I threw one of these away.
All right, you're the man, Johnny.
All right. Well, bang. That's tough. That's up close and personal, isn't it?
Nothing to it.
Nothing to it. It's just
No way
clays.
you can miss here.
Poke. Or not in the slightest, as the case may be.
Turns out there is a way you could miss here. In fact, I find it's on these closer birds that gun fit matters more to me than on big crosses. There's just no margin for error. Having had a serious word with myself, I headed into stand 8 and paid much more attention.
Nice open space, giant scissor lift.
Yep. We got bat 2 and a 110 up there. Good birds. Bat 2's pretty straightforward. The other one's out there a bit, a little speed. Kind of goes into the tree line, so makes them a little challenging to see where they land.
Get on and kill it.
Well, you got plenty of time, but
Okay.
it's hard to judge the distance here.
These targets off the tower gave a nice break from the low-angle birds we'd encountered so far. With Joe, Anthony and me all done, we got in the buggies and continued down the course. From the right on station 10 was a high quartering midi that left a big transition to the standard trap bird going down the ride. And station 11 had a close looper with an overhead duck target. Hold points are always important, but on this station I doubled down my attention to make sure I wasn't going to miss picking up that second target completely.
Sweet as a nut. Well, it's begging to be
That's
shot the
going to
wrong
be
way
that's
around,
a
isn't
good
it?
bird out there. That's the one that's going to get him.
Station 12 was my favourite of the course. A simple left to right chandelle was followed by an incomer that landed at 40 yards. The first bird was bread and butter, but the second was much more interesting.
What an awesome pair of birds.
Yes, I mean, it looks pretty straightforward. It's a good station for everybody because you got the chandelle right there. If you're a lower class shooter, you could easily get an easy shot. You could shoot twice, right, if you had to.
It's in the bank, that one, right?
Then you have an incomer that's just straight on with a little curl to it, but it's way under your barrel and you come down to it after you're shooting the high chandelle. Kind of like you're disoriented, like of what it's doing and where it's going and how far it is,
And it
you know?
looks like it's coming in straight, but right at the last minute it catches the wind and hooks out to the right a load.
Yeah, it's
Unbelievably good
just
target.
far enough, you
Yeah.
know? It's 40 yards. I marked it off because I was out there in the field. All right,
Last
keep
stand. Let's
going.
move on.
One more.
The final station was a true pair of trap targets. Nothing I shouldn't have crushed. But for reasons that I couldn't fathom at the time, I really struggled. Honestly, I just wasn't feeling myself. My pre-shot was all over the place, which my new American dad Joe had pulled me up on a few times, and my hands had been shaking uncontrollably on and off all morning.
Shake it, mate.
Turns out this was a precursor to more personal medical issues. which I wish I would have known, cause it would have made a great excuse. All done with SL2, we headed back to base to grab more shells and prepare for the 694 course. But before we do that, let me share with you some of the rest of my week at the Worlds. It's day 3 and I tracked down my friend Jeremy from the Clay Lab to have some fun on the make or break layouts.
Happy to see you again.
Likewise. It's an absolute pleasure to see you.
Drove up through the night.
I always like looking up to you.
Look, physical looking up is the same in my head as mental.
But yeah, so let's talk about why you added the spacer to my gun.
Yeah, so, these guys already know
You'll actually hear this story in a bit.
that I've broken your gun. I borrowed your gun.
You broke it,
and then made it better. I've improved it. But you then yourself said, oh, I wish I had a spacer in there anyway.
I do. I do think a lot of the Berettas come off a lot shorter for some of us taller
not
folks.
everyone's big and
Some
tall
of us
like
big
you.
6-foot alpha male types.
Yeah.
So no, I do appreciate you putting that spacer in there.
A400's a real versatile.
Yes, absolutely.
With a little bit of tweaking, I found that great. And so I'm hoping to kick my butt because, well, I just borrowed a DT11.
I think you just grabbed the most expensive gun you could find, or the
could have got
prettiest.
more expensive,
I know.
but it is pretty.
I think you're trying to buy success right now.
That is what this sport is all about.
I heard you could do that.
I don't know if you can buy it with charm, because that's all I've got.
Take me down to shining waters, to towns of grit and pride.
Gotta hit the
Well,
one.
right?
You gotta hit the one.
Nowhere
Oh.
left too high, then take it off.
Winning.
You got Charlie Sheen over here.
Bring it on. It's because
Here, I'll trade you guns.
Yeah, I tell you what, that might work. Should we trade guns?
need you now to take my legs, or else I'll rain
Oh.
till I
Give me that gun
back.
back. Oh. Oh, I'm leading.
Take me to a hilltop castle, to a room all draped in white. Give me some familiar faces so I know I'll be alright. And take it all, take it.
I'll take it.
It shows you can buy success.
Yeah, can buy success.
This was pretty though. It really is. It broke enough 7s for me, because 1 was enough.
One was enough.
1 was enough.
I can't believe I just got destroyed that badly by you.
Pleasure as always.
After that brutal game with Jeremy, we headed to the other make or break to lick our wounds and play some quickest off the arm,
Oh.
which I also lost. It was a wet, British-style morning, and I was supposed to be on peg for 0800 on the Caesar Guarini 12-gauge side event. I'd arranged to meet Dan from Beretta, who was shooting a different event at 8 AM, to grab a DT11 that I'd set up for myself. Unfortunately, our paths didn't cross, and I was left without a gun to shoot. At 7:50, I was panicking a little. And that is when Jeremy walks past and asks what's up. I explain the situation and he offers me his spare gun. I of course accept the offer and head over to my first station of Caesar Guarini. Five out of 8 isn't too bad, but that gun didn't fit me at all. So I whizzed back to the trade village, where I found Beretta didn't open till 0900.
The brain's getting a little harder. Shot 5 out of 8 on the first stand. Nothing to be ashamed of with a gun I'd never shot. Because I was first, I'll go in last to this station, so I had a minute. Elite shotgun had just turned up. Do you have a screwdriver? Yeah, put that pad in, took the beads out. So to my heart to return to normal. Let's go shoot some players.
7 out of 8 was much more like it, and this form continued over the next few stations. The majority of targets on this course were true pairs, and this made for some tricky shooting, even though most of the targets were not hard as singles. You may have noticed, but this constant rain meant the big cameras went away and Apple's finest came out to save the day. Even on the pairs that you had as reports, you had to be on the money.
Relaxing now. It never ceases to amaze. The little tweaks you can do to a gun to make it suit you And it's one of those things, like I've said over the years, you can't trust one model next to the other model of certain brands because they're so different. But it just goes to show that even with exactly the same gun, 1/4 inch in the back, it's not perfectly fitted, taking those beads out, and it's a completely different gun for 5 minutes of work. I find that kind of stuff fascinating, and something that I am still learning about every day.
This gun is an A400 Cole Pro. I have an A400 back in the UK and it's a great gun. But this one has been taken to the next level with a Cerakote action, polished internals, reworked triggers, and Cole oversized controls. As we shot our way around the course, the weather started to progress beyond agreeable mizzle and into bothersome drizzle, which proved a solid excuse as we moved into the harder stands.
Hey, coming in real handy. I'm glad I bought the full set of shooting glasses for sure. I tried those purples on today, but where it's real dark, these are really helping pick those targets out. That last stand was a killer. We had out of the squad 2 4s, 2 5s, and a 6. First target, real easy dolly bird, bang in the air. But you had to transition fast for a report bird that was basically on the floor, starting at 30 yards, 30, 40 yards, going away. Slight edge to the left, and the only way I broke it was to super fast transition, just whack! And a few of the guys managed to break it, but you're shooting an edge on target at range. Back home, I'll be putting something a bit spicy in, probably a 6.5 to help with that, but hey, I don't have any. So let's crack on. A few stands left, let's make the most of them.
This next stand was my favourite of the course, a sim pair of MIDI and incoming looper. The MIDI was the sort that looked a long way, but broke real nice, and the looper needed to be shot dropping into the splash in front of you. I shot this well, but couldn't find the timing on the next pair, which appeared much simpler.
Station 7 wasn't none too pretty. 5 out of 8. Easy going away, and then you had to shoot the second one on the drop. And for some reason I just couldn't find the timing. The whole point was wrong, I don't know. I was expecting a little more. We're ready for the last station, Station 8, the station I thought I was going to start at. This is perhaps a bit more simple, 2 standards on report, little floppy incomer, you know, I have to get underneath that, and then a big rising standard in the air. Pretty tasty looking crosser. See what we can do, and well, nothing we can do to fix the scorecard at this point, so let's have fun.
That was an enjoyable course with a great squad. Just the right level of targets to relax between the more important events. All finished up, we stopped for a quick picture before going our separate ways.
Kind of gutted I couldn't use the gun I'd set up for the Guarini. It would have been a DT11 DLC that I'd had a little play with and had a little practice with and kind of got used to. It's the gun I'm used to. But I'm very thankful to Jeremy from the Clay Lab. Obviously the new official sponsor of TGS, seeing as he's looked after us once again so well this trip. Lending me the A400 Cole Pro. We took a little warm up, but we got at him in the end, I think. Did all right, 84, I'll take 84. By the end of that course, I was flowing with that. I really enjoyed that experience.
Time for the final piece of the main event, 694.
Joe Skull, the man for ruining a lot of egos this week.
Well, it is the world.
Not supposed to be too simple.
Not supposed to be too simple. It doesn't have to be ridiculously hard. But, you know, got to have some challenge in there for people.
You've set a lot of side events, but you've also set 694 main, which we're about to shoot.
Yes.
Different? Hard?
It's different than the other 2 events you've been on, the other 2 mains. This one has a couple narrow lanes in it, but it also has some big open areas with some longer, better birds, big gaps.
All right.
You know.
I've changed gun to hopefully something that suits me a little better.
Well, I hope you do.
1, 2 report pairs, 2 traps 100 million yards away.
first stand was a great warm-up with a pair of incomers, but the second turned up the heat significantly.
I mean, none of you are that kind if you start on stand 1. Both stand 2s on this and DT11 were brutal. That one bird, it's getting away from you, and that number 2 bird, I didn't hit it once.
For some reason, you want to go there and then you panic going up here instead of shooting that, holding up, waiting for the bird to come to you.
Yeah.
You're chasing it up and blowing past it.
Yeah, my heart's going about 1,000,000 miles an hour, thanks.
You know, with that creeping gun going back like this all the time, that doesn't help you shoot birds going forward.
I promise you, I will pay some more attention from here on
Listen,
in and see what we can do.
You don't go pull, you go pull that way.
This is a scary situation. I'm falling apart. It's allowed to fall apart. It's not a real competition. This is just getting all the bad stuff out of the way before tomorrow.
Stand 3 didn't let up, but these 2 long report crosses were much more in my comfort zone. Station 4 had a great teal and left to right crosser. And 5 had a trap bird and right to left crosser. Nothing too scary, but easy enough to let one slip away.
I shoot with DT11, it's a pretty smooth shooting gun, but that SL2 is like shooting 3/4 ounce loads.
Yeah, you might need that. At your age, you might need to cut down on recoil.
I'm English, we're not hard, we don't like recoil.
No.
Stand 6 was a 2-pair station that was designed to put you back in your place after the previous 2 stands. There was a monster chandelle from the right and a quartering bird from the left. That first bird needed a big gap.
I don't think I've seen a Batu like that.
Shoot 3 signals here.
All right.
Off platform at trap 1.
Oh.
Stand 7 was another single station with full use over 3 singles.
You have all the time in the world.
Plenty of time to shoot them both.
You can take your time. If you miss with the first, rebreathe, kill it.
And get to the bird.
Yeah.
No problem.
Stand 8 was a trap bird and looper sim pair that was significantly tougher than it appeared walking in.
Okay, got 2 report, MIDI first. They're both coming from back here.
All right, I see them.
Stand 9 was a great pair of crosses coming out of a hedgerow. On the face of it, they looked similar enough, but one was a standard and one was a MIDI. Stand 10 backed off the pace a little with a simple pair of high crosses.
How do you decide where to put true pairs and where to put report pairs? You just, however you feel.
How'd you flow the course going?
Okay.
Yeah, well, you got 6 targets here, you got 6 targets there, and then you go to a 2 bird where you only got 4 birds. And we make that a report pair, which takes a little longer to shoot. We can put the target that takes longer to develop, and that makes up for when you get here, your 6 birds flows fast.
Okay.
It's just to keep the course moving through.
The logistics choice, right?
We try to do it for flow to make it keep moving.
Well, when
So
you've got
they don't back
1,700
up.
shooters,
Yeah.
You know?
you need to get them through.
Yeah, we got 1,500 people to get through. So we got a Rabu and a standard.
Rabus have become way more fashionable.
Yeah, and the shooters are learning how to shoot them better. They would always shoot over top of them no matter what, most of the time. The target's more parachuting this way, and they read it going up, but it's really falling forward at the same time.
Okay.
So it makes you end up over top of it a lot of times.
So far, I think I'm handling your targets better than I'm handling your targets.
To a degree, yeah. He's got that stuff that you're not used to in the woods. It's a little closer, and you know the background really plays where people aren't used to shooting stuff in the background. Open, you got more time to.
You can see every bit of the line, feel every bit of the clay.
When you start your gun off a little bit, you got time to fix it. When you're in stuff like that, if your gun's not right to start, you're not going to fix it.
I love hard targets more than most, But it's occasionally nice to give your body and brain a break and run a station, regardless of your level.
Pair of rabbits here, mate.
Okay, report pair.
Yeah, report. Rabbit from the left crossing and then a quartering rabbit.
The final station of the course was a pair of rabbits. Not something that usually shakes me, but a target misread had me missing that first rabbit way behind. This course, as the others, was great. Not a single target was ridiculous. They would just beat you with timing and bad moves.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate
That was
it.
a great course.
It's going to shoot good. The scores will be good on it.
Yeah.
Some of the lower classes are going to struggle, but you know, we are shooting a world competition. We're not shooting, you know, your monthly shoots.
Yeah, it's a different kind of flavour to Anthony's.
Right.
Anthony's technical, as you said, hold points need to be absolutely bang on. There is no second chances. This, a bit more open, but as long as you don't mind wanging a gun out in front,
Right.
they die.
It's just a matter of giving them more lead than you do in the other course.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Unbelievable that you
I
have the
appreciate it.
reputation you do
Thank you.
as the nastiest
Yep.
course setter in the world. I think Anthony's
No.
way harder for a
No.
poor English boy. We got to shoot the main event together, which was a real honour, by the way. You have shot in some pretty serious situations. If you could give viewers 1 or 2 tips on how to step up their game, what would they be?
There's obviously experience, which is not something that comes easily, right? The thing with experience is it takes time. You know, for the viewer that's watching, don't discount yourself. Keep working hard. Put your time in. You have to make sure your mechanics are good and you have good fundamentals. So if you are in question of that, or you're not sure, or your scores are really inconsistent, you might want some instruction or have someone look at you at least that knows what's going on to see if you're doing some things correctly. I feel like if we look at the best shooters across the world, they all have experience and they all have good fundamentals.
Again, a massive thank you from me, and I guess I can say for everyone here, I know that it's been a huge amount of work for you and everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Today is Friday, the teams are out on the course, the real main event has started. Unfortunately, we do leave tomorrow, but tonight is the opening ceremony. All the countries are going to parade in with their flags. It's going to be great. There's a dinner, and this is where the real show begins. Kind of good we can't stay the weekend, but we're going to enjoy tonight. Let's rock and roll.
After spending our last day getting our few final shots, spending our last moments with distant friends, and playing on the practice field one last time, we headed to the make-or-break field for the England versus America showdown, where unsurprisingly we bumped into some of the best shooters in the world.
How are you finding the Worlds?
Brilliant, really enjoying it. It's the first time I've been back over here for 12 years.
Really?
So it's been a big gap since I've last come over. So yeah, loving it though. Brilliant. Really good.
Fresh off of a decent win back home.
Yeah, form's good at home, really good. 2 majors out the first 3, I think. So great start at home, but not a great start here. A little bit lacking, yeah.
It's a very different, you shot DT11, right?
Yeah.
Very different to any course you'd see back home.
Yeah, I mean, look, target presentations are great. Yeah, I can't complain at all. I mean, I'm seeing everything in patches, but where I want to kill them, I'm not comfortable. So it's, I've really struggled around there. I've killed all of my first pairs out and then just leaked them on the back end, so.
Pull it together for tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, there's two more days left, so I can probably scrape a decent, respectable score if I perform, but too much damage on there is probably done now. So, look, you've got to have a good time. We'll get on the make a break and see if we can have some fun on there.
Should be good, man. Good luck.
Yeah, nice to see you, mate. Thank you.
So usually Anthony Matarese Jr. sets the targets here. He brings in Joe Skoll a lot. In terms of what to expect, you can always expect to be tested on everything. If you have a flaw in your game, he will find it. So he really does test your full ability to shoot clay targets. Close, far, fast, slow. You've got different backgrounds here. We've got in the trees, and then we've got a lot of open background and open sky. So you really get the full gamut of clay target presentations, and it tests every single skill that you've got. You've got to pull out every trick, every tool in the bag in order to be successful.
The format of Yanks versus Brits is pretty simple. Each country fields 7 shooters, each shooting 7 pairs of bloody tough targets from the make-or-break layout. First up was Powell versus Myers, which ended 5-11. A great start for England. After that, the competition carried on, swinging one way then the other, with Oliver versus Hendrick, Keenbaum versus Ward, Stacy versus Miles, Hitch versus Dickens, Wilgus versus Stacy, and Hall versus Hunt. It was an epic display of shooting by some of the best in the business, but I'm happy to say the Brits came out on top with 47 points to the Yanks 44. All done with another year of friendly rivalry, we turned about face, ate some dinner, and watched proudly as the national teams paraded in. Just like that, it was our time to go home once again, leaving these top shots to battle it out for the World Championship. The competition was fierce, with the top scorers going into a super final and shooting off to become the world champion. It turns out that Brandon Powell was just as undefeatable in the super final as he was out on the course. Watching him shoot is impressive. The energy that gets led down whilst in the stand is unlike any other shooter I've seen. A huge congratulations from us to our new Sporting Clays World Champion.
Well, that was an amazing experience. Guys, thank you so much for watching and sharing that experience. Thank you to the sponsors who made this possible, Beretta, Edwards Eyewear, and our channel members.
Thank you for watching, guys. This channel is made possible by our amazing sponsors. You can find out more about them in the description down below. And if you want to support the channel, you can join as a member. You get loads of extra content, well, some extra content, and occasionally we hook up and go clay shooting together as a membership group. If you don't feel like joining today, we really appreciate you watching and subscribing. Have a wonderful day.
A big thank you to the Matarese family and all of those at M&M for making this event a reality. Your passion and dedication really show. And finally, a big thank you to you for watching. We'll see you at EJ Churchill for the 2025 World Sporting Clays Championship.